In 1960s America, racism was not hidden. It was not whispered. It was shouted from street corners and enforced by laws. Muhammad Ali lived in the middle of it, and he refused to stay silent. This is the story of the day Muhammad Ali stood up to a white supremacist bully in front of thousands of people, and what he said changed the way an entire nation understood what courage really means. It was 1963. Muhammad Ali, still known as Cassius Clay, was in Birmingham, Alabama. He was there for a boxing exhibition. But Birmingham in 1963 was not just any city. Birmingham was the epicenter of racial violence in America. Just weeks before Ali arrived, the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham had been bombed by the Ku Klux Klan. 4 young girls, Addie Mae Collins, Cynthia Wesley, Carol McNair, and Carol Denise McNair, had been killed. The youngest was only 11 years old. The city was tense. The air felt like it could explode at any moment. The white establishment was brutal in its suppression of the civil rights movement, and the black community was angry, grieving, and determined. Muhammad Ali knew what he was walking into. He was not naive about the danger, but he came anyway. The boxing exhibition was held in front of thousands of people. The crowd was mixed. Both black and white spectators had come to see the young, brash boxer who was making waves in the boxing world. Ali was still learning his craft, still developing his persona, but even then, there was something different about him. There was a confidence that could not be hidden. There was a sense that he believed in something bigger than himself. After the exhibition, Ali was preparing to leave when it happened. A white man approached him. Not just any white man. This was a known racist, a man who had a reputation in Birmingham for his violent rhetoric and his harassment of black people. The man was drunk. The man was angry. The man saw a young black athlete who had just performed in front of thousands and who carried himself with pride. The man could not accept it. He walked directly up to Muhammad Ali and started insulting him. He called him the N-word. He told him that he was nothing but a slave. He told him that no matter how famous he became, he would never be as good as a white man. He told him to go back where he came from. The crowd began to gather. This was the kind of moment that could have gone very wrong. In 1963 Birmingham, a confrontation between a black athlete and a white racist could have turned violent. It could have turned into a riot. The police were nearby, and the police in Birmingham were not known for their impartiality.
But Muhammad Ali did something that shocked everyone watching. He did not throw a punch. He did not lose his temper. He did not respond with violence. Instead, he stepped forward. He looked the man directly in the eye, and he spoke. His voice was calm. His voice was clear. His voice carried a certainty that could be heard by everyone within earshot. "Listen here," Ali said. "I am not going to fight you. I am not going to hit you. But I am going to tell you the truth, and you are going to hear it whether you want to or not." The crowd fell silent. Everyone was watching. This was a moment. This was the kind of moment that people remember for the rest of their lives. "I am not a slave," Ali continued. "My ancestors were slaves, but I am not. I am a man. I am an American. I am a champion boxer, and I am smarter, faster, and stronger than you will ever be. Not because of my skin color, but because of who I am as a person." The white man tried to interrupt, but Ali kept talking. "You can call me names. You can spit on me. You can try to make me feel small, but you will never make me believe that I am less than you, because I know the truth. I know that God made all men equal, and no law that men make can change that truth." Ali stepped closer to the man. His voice grew louder so that the entire crowd could hear. "I am not afraid of you. I am not afraid of this city. I am not afraid of your hatred, because I have something you will never have. I have pride. I have dignity. I have faith in something bigger than myself, and that makes me stronger than any fist you could throw." The white man was stunned. He had expected Ali to be intimidated. He had expected Ali to back down. Instead, he was being lectured by a young black man in front of thousands of people. But what happened next shocked everyone even more. The crowd began to clap. First, it was just a few people, black people in the crowd who could not believe what they were hearing, black people who had lived their entire lives being told they were less than, black people who had watched their children be beaten, black people who had seen churches bombed and who had attended funerals for children who had been murdered. They began to clap for Muhammad Ali. And then more people joined in, not all the white people, but many of them, young people, people who were beginning to question the system they had been taught, people who were watching a young black man stand up with dignity and speak truth to power. The applause grew. It grew louder. It grew until it filled the entire arena. The racist man tried to say something else, but his voice was drowned out by the sound of thousands of people applauding. He realized that he had lost. He realized that his hatred had no power in that moment. He realized that he was standing alone. He walked away. He disappeared into the crowd, defeated not by violence, but by truth and dignity. Muhammad Ali stood there, breathing hard, his fists unclenched. He had not thrown a single punch, but he had won a victory that would be remembered far longer than any boxing match. Word of what happened that day spread. It spread through the black community in Birmingham. It spread through the civil rights movement. It spread across the nation. People who had been afraid found courage in what Muhammad Ali had done. People who had been silent found their voice. What Muhammad Ali had shown that day was something revolutionary. He had shown that there was a way to stand up to hatred without becoming hateful. He had shown that there was a way to respond to violence with words that were more powerful than any fist. In the months and years that followed, Muhammad Ali would become an even more powerful voice for civil rights. He would refuse to be drafted into a war he did not believe in. He would be stripped of his titles. He would be banned from boxing. He would be called a traitor and a coward. But he would never forget that moment in Birmingham. He would never forget what he had learned, that the most powerful thing a person can do is to stand up and speak the truth, even when the world is telling you to be silent. Years later, when people asked Muhammad Ali about his greatest fight, he would not talk about any boxing match. He would talk about the moments he had stood up to injustice. He would talk about the times he had refused to accept the world as it was and had fought to change it. That day in Birmingham was one of those moments. That was the day a young boxer learned that true strength is not measured in how hard you can hit. True strength is measured in your willingness to stand alone if necessary. True strength is measured in your faith in yourself and your faith in something bigger than yourself. The racist man who had confronted Muhammad Ali that day eventually left Birmingham. Some say he was ashamed of what had happened. Some say he left because he could not accept living in a place where a black man had standing and dignity. Whatever the reason, he was gone. But Muhammad Ali remained. He remained and continued to fight, not just in boxing rings, but for justice. Not just for himself, but for all people who were being told they were less than. Not just in Birmingham, but across the entire nation. His confrontation with that bully became legendary in the civil rights movement. It became a symbol of what courage looked like. It became a reminder that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to speak the truth calmly and with dignity in the face of hatred. Years later, as Muhammad Ali reflected on his life,
He realized that the most important fights of his career were not the ones that took place in boxing rings. They were the ones that took place in the hearts and minds of people. They were the moments when he chose to respond with words instead of fists. They were the moments when he chose to build instead of destroy. That day in Birmingham, Muhammad Ali taught the world an important lesson. He showed that real strength comes from within. He showed that true courage is not about physical dominance. True courage is about standing up for what you believe in, even when you are afraid, even when you are outnumbered, even when the entire system is against you. The story of Muhammad Ali and the racist bully in Birmingham reminds us that we all have moments where we can choose how to respond to hatred. We can choose violence, we can choose silence, or we can choose what Muhammad Ali chose, to speak the truth with dignity and let that truth be the weapon that defeats hatred. If this story of courage and dignity moved you, please subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Share this video with someone who needs to remember that real strength comes from principle and conviction. Have you ever stood up to injustice? Have you ever spoken truth in the face of hatred? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to ring that notification bell for more stories about Muhammad Ali and the people who changed the world.